Okay, so we have today the TRP HYRD post-fitted hydraulic disc brake caliper. So this is a hybrid brake, so both mechanical and has basically the hydraulic, which is run by, I believe, mineral oil. So apparently I've had very good reports on this, on how good these are, and it's going to make a huge difference to my stopping power on my Ox. So first of all, I'm going to put this down to the sides, and the first thing we're going to do is remove the brake cable. So we're going to release the brake cable and remove this first. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to release the brake cable. So releasing that off. Going to remove the cable from here gently. So that's removed. What I should have done also at the start is actually take off your mudguard, because apparently I need to take off the mudguard as well. I think it gives me more movement, more space basically to get the new disc brake in. So I'm going to take that off as well. So I've taken the mudguard off, put that to one side. Okay, so now we've got that free. So next what we're going to do is take this old caliper off. What you have is you have two screws. So you have two vertical screws, one here on the top left and one here on the top right. I will show you now. I'm going to move the camera around to show you that. So you have one just here on the top, and you have another one here on the top on the right hand side. So we're going to release those now using our Allen key. Okay, so we're going to remove this now using our Allen key, using the largest Allen key. Okay, so when you remove these, be careful because you've got a silver metal ring here, and you've also got another piece here. So just that there's two pieces within this screw. So when you take this off, be careful and put that to one side. And we're going to do the same on the left as well. Be careful not to lose anything. So this is part of your mounting post. So I'm going to hopefully remove this. So that's the old one off. What I've also just noticed is there is also two more of what we have on these screws already, the silver and the black rings. We've also got two of those sitting here on the top here. So be careful when you remove this, because you want to leave those in place, because I believe they're basically sort of they're sort of gap fillers as well. So they're making the hydraulic brakes sit at a certain height as well, to ensure that this disc does not hit the top of the caliper when it goes on. So these are spacers basically. So yeah, be careful not to knock those off. Okay, so now we're ready to put the hydraulic caliper back in place of where the original one was. So we're going to, using these, you've got the brake pads here, going to fit this over the disc and carefully put it back in place, avoiding us knocking off these two separate spacers either side. Okay, so that's in place. So on here you've got two holes to put the screws in. They're not circular, they're slightly wider than that. And when you put your screw back in with your two bits of metal on, we're going to put this down quite firmly but not solid. So you're not going to tighten this all the way up, because we want to have a bit of manoeuvrability for later, because we need to adjust this slightly. We may need to adjust it. to make sure it doesn't rub against the disc brake. So I'm going to put this back in now, these screws. Okay, so hand tighten now, so I'm going to use this to tighten them up more. So we've got that in a loose position at the moment. So what we need to do now is run our cable back through the hydraulic brake. So we need to get this back into position. Okay, so to save time for me faffing around, I've put the cable through now. So you run your brake cable through this side here, through the hole. It comes out here, and I'm going to move this. So gonna run it through here, comes out over here, and then you're going to unscrew this using your Allen key, 5mm, and open it up enough so you can slide this cable through, and there's a groove to the right hand side within here that you run this cable. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hold this cable tight, and we're going to screw that back in. Right, okay, so I've got this in place now, so I've got my brake cable tightened up on the end. I've got my lock-in mechanism here undone, so that's all ready to go. So now what we need to do is we need to hold the brake, pump the brake 4 or 5 times, and then we're going to hold the brake down firmly so that the pads are parallel to the disc, so they're nice and tight. And then while holding the brake down, we're going to then screw these 2 screws up to make it nice and tight. And after that, what we'll do then, we'll run the wheel with the engine and check that there's no rubbing and that the brake works fine. So we're going to do that now. So I'm going to pump the brake on my scooter. So now I'm holding the brake in position, so it's nice and tight, while screwing up the 2 bolts. Okay, so I'm going to release the brake. Right, so I'm going to run the wheel now. Cool, sounds good. Run it again. Cool. Right, so that looks good. So got to go and test this now out on the road to make sure. But so that is the new brake in place. So I'm going to go and take it for a ride shortly, and I'll test it out. And it may. I'm not sure if it's like the others or not, because I don't change brakes very often. But the original obviously had a bit of wear in time where you had to sort of readjust it again. So that might have to happen again. But we'll see. But there's not really. You can hear a very slight touch of metal, so I could probably adjust it very slightly. I probably will, but that will be a case of trial and error. So every user is going to be slightly different when they put it on. So yeah, there's a slight rub, but I can adjust that again by loosening these two off slightly and moving this backwards and forwards. Same with this, and then putting it, repositioning again. So yeah, cool. That was quite simple for someone like me who doesn't usually do this sort of stuff. It's very simple to do. Yeah, cool. Let me know what you think, and I will let you know what I think once I've taken this out on the road.